All right, so what we're going to do now is we are going to build the body of the rocket. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little hand sanitizer on my hands just to make sure any germs don't get in on anything on the table. So what you should have is a 2 liter of anything. Now remember, these the smoother 2 liters work. I know they started making them like have curves, but the smoother ones work a lot better to make this rocket, and it'll give your team a pretty good shot at making a really good rocket. All right, so I'm just going to sort of skip ahead. I took all of this off, and this is what I have so far. So what I wanted to show on this is that, well, first I filled it with water because I'm going to be using a hot glue gun to glue the fins onto them. Now, if you do not fill it with water, what's happening, it's going to warp the plastic, and it's going to be very hard to work with. It also makes it pretty heavy when it has water in it, so you're not accidentally knocking it over. But what I do is I filled it with water because water has a very high internal energy, so it can store all that heat, and it's not going to warp that plastic. So every time we are hot gluing anything to the bottle, we want to make sure it's filled with water, just so we have that. Now you can see I've already attached 2 of the fins. I'm going to attach 4 because what I did was I just cut out 2 squares of 3x5, just like a note card. So I cut 3x5 out, and then I just cut it diagonally. Now I have fins. So I did that twice, so I've already affixed 2 fins on that. And what I did was I took a ruler and I just made little marks around the edge. You can see there's one at 8 inches above the table. Where it is, there it is, right? So about 8 inches above the table. Now what that's going to do is that's going to put those fins pretty low to the rocket, but it's going to cover the most amount. You don't want it too high because you don't want it messing with the payload that's going to go on this end. Now, the one mistake that I see people make the most is that they look at this and they go, oh, look, the rocket, this is what it's going to look like. It's going to go up, right? So then they put the sails on, or the fins on like this. Well, remember, the body of the rocket's going to attach to that launcher like this. So if you did that, then your fins are going to be upside down. The fins need to be this way, right? So when you're gluing them like this, right? So now once you're done with that, it should look something like this. So notice that I have all 4 fins. It's a little beat up because this is from a rocket that's already been launched. But what I do after I hot glue gun all around, so first thing I do is I put a little hot glue on the inside. That'll make it stick to that, and then I just went around it, right? So that way it's really sturdy on there. Now, then I put duct tape around it just to make it extra sturdy, right? So there'll be duct tape around the room so that you can do that. So that way the fins are going to be sturdy and they're not going to fall off and cause a penalty. All right, so once again, this is building the body of the rocket. And last thing I'm going to do, put a little hand sanitizer on my hands just to make sure any germs that are on the table don't get back to my stuff.